In today's video, I'll be discussing End of the World by Public Image Ltd, often abbreviated as p.i.l. The band emerged in the post-punk scene following the disbandment of the Sex Pistols. Its formation was spearheaded by John Lydon, the former lead singer of the Sex Pistols, who now goes by his birth name of John Lydon. My introduction to this group happened in the 1980s when I stumbled upon their music, possibly while watching MTV or a similar channel, though I can't recall the specific song that marked my initial encounter with p.i.l. But since then, their tunes haven't really frequented my playlists until recently when this album came out. Remarkably, I discovered that p.i.l is still active, boasting an extensive discography. This revelation struck me as I've been delving into the sounds of new wave and post-punk tracks from the 1980s. This alignment with my current musical instruments caught my attention. The music is an unconventional amalgamation, somewhat eccentric and offbeat, yet delightfully spirited. The entire album excludes a sense of quirkiness and positivity. One notable highlight is the album's closing track, Hawaii, which harbors a profoundly emotive narrative, a story I'll delve into later in this video. Now let's dive into the album's individual tracks and explore its essence in more detail. As we progress, I'll provide a comprehensive overview culminating in my final assessment. So, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's commence our exploration of the songs featured on this intriguing album.
Away by the sea, away from the harbor.
Penge is the first track and has an 80s post-punk sound with some baritone-style vocals. It has some thick bass guitar grooves that move the rhythm. The song is a slow and plodding sound, and I thought it was a good song to start off the album. Next is the title track, End of the World, and this sounds like some 80s new wave, but with some noisy guitars. The bass guitar is very prominent, and the lead guitar riffs are very groovy. I can hear some post-punk influence on this track. John Lydon does some spoken vocal parts in the second half of the song, and the main guitar riff was a little repetitive, which helped me make the song a lot more memorable. They kicked me out in the dark. Car Chase was a very upbeat song. It had this kind of disco quality to it, but I thought it was more leaning towards the classic sound from the 80s. It had more of a danceable type of beat. The song has a nice groove and a thumping bass beat, and John Lydon is giving his classic vocal style. Being Stupid Again reminds me of the band The Smiths for some reason, and with that bass intro and the echo effect on the guitar tone is very interesting. It's almost like it's played in this wavelength type of rhythm. I guess that's how I would describe it.
Your ignorance.
Walls reminds me of a David Bowie type of song, and he does more of those spoken vocals as opposed to singing. At times, the song seems like he's like this old man rambling on about things, but the song has a really cool groove to it. It also reminds me of a Talking Heads song, One in a Million, where he's just rambling on these things during the verses.
You can't come.
Pretty Awful was a fun song, and another one of those songs where John Lydon is kind of rambling on in the verses, almost like speaking them. But I really like the bass guitar in the song and the whole album in general, and it really carries the album very well. I like the guitar tone in the song. It's very bright and clean. It brings back the sound of 80s post-punk.
Life's strange.
Strange was a pretty cool song. I like the use of the keyboards. They created some haunting and atmospheric sound textures. They also used an echo effect on the vocals. I thought that helps with the whole ambience of the song.
He's on his own.
Down on the Clown is the next song. I really like the drum beat on this one. The song has this 80s post-punk sound. Like most of their other songs in the album, it's pretty good. Kind of has this gloomy atmosphere, but the drums really stood out in that one.
So fair is fair.
Dirty Murky Delight is kind of a weird song because it has this funky rhythm with this Red Hot Chili Pepper style guitar playing. The vocals are more of this weird rap style. It's kind of cool, but kind of different.
Can you do that? Do that? Can you do that?
The Do That is kind of a weird song, almost like listening to a post-punk version of a Dr. Seuss book, but That was my impression I got from the lyrics. LFCF was a cool song. Like I've been saying, it had this cool bass guitar groove and the guitar sound was very bright. I thought the vocals were kind of weird. I guess some type of poetic quality to it if you really analyze them, but it kind of sounds like he's just rambling on. The song has these futuristic sci-fi laser beam types of sounds or something like that. And in case you're wondering, the song LFCF stands for Liars, Fakes, Cheats, and Frauds. Northwest Passage has a slow and plodding rhythm with a thick bass guitar sound and some noise rock elements in the background. It was kind of weird. There's a lot of feedback, but nothing much more to say about it. It was okay.
Too soon, no need to cry.
The final song was called Hawaii, a very poignant song about the death of John Lydon's wife who died from Alzheimer's. This was released as the first single, and I would say it's the most emotional song on the album. If you read the lyrics, it appears he's using Hawaii as a metaphor for the afterlife, and he's telling her not to worry because one day they will be together again. So that is all. I think this album is just a fun album. It's kind of a little weird, a little quirky, but if you like that post-punk music from the 80s, I think it's a pretty cool album to check out. My score is a 7 out of 10. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Please remember to like this video and leave a comment and subscribe and all that. I'm going to link another video. I'm going to stick it right there or maybe there, where whatever works for me, and I'll see you in the next one.